Good morning. Very sweaty morning. So I've just finished my interval. Black light tolerance. Couldn't tolerate it. I normally do 5 rounds, 5 intervals. Just took me 3 today. Probably the heat. Probably not enough recovery. I don't know. 3 is good for now. Don't want to push myself. Today's gonna be a busy day. Anyway with Naveen. Yeah, pretty much that. But maybe he's gonna get surprised.
Sniff your blood out. Like when they bang.
Cuckoo, what's the scene? Why are you so excited? What's happening? Hello again. You know, I'd like to really thank you guys for like the overwhelming fucking response to the video about Naveen's victory at the road race. You know, thank you for the shares, the comments, the likes. I mean, phenomenal. I think it's one of my first videos to actually take off. And yes, I'm on my way to meet Naveen now at Ciclo Cafe over a cup of coffee. We're going to discuss what actually went down for the road race. What's up? Welcome. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. A little bruised up, but
Oh, crap.
all the real big stuff's on my ass. But yeah,
Let's do
back
this.
in Bangalore. Let's do it. Come on in. By the way, this coffee is like the best coffee in all of Bangalore.
Damn. So yeah, a lot of people have been saying that, you know, like they've been defining this nationals by one slogan, and I've gone through the social media feeds, and you know what I've seen is people are saying it should be defined by the statement, which is #Kaam Karo.
Kaam Karo.
So
Yeah.
what went down?
That's a reference to that video, right?
Yeah.
So this is towards the later stages of the race. I'd broken away at 75 Ks. Had 2 riders with me. They stuck around for about 20 Ks. And we took...
Stuck around as in they were on your wheel?
They were on my wheel for the most part, and I convinced one of those guys to work. So basically we split the workload. I said, you know, I'll work 3 minutes, you work 30 seconds, you know.
Right.
And he was happy with that equation, and I was happy. You know, all I needed was that 30 seconds respite.
Yeah.
Basically, it was over under intervals, you know.
Makes sense.
Yeah, 3 minutes at 340, 350 watts, and then
Damn.
you know 30 seconds at 200, 220. So
Most people don't have 280 as their
well,
MTB
yeah,
at all.
well, yeah, I mean, this is Indian standard. I mean, like the international level is so much higher, but that's all I needed for the day.
Yeah.
We took this turn, and you know there was a small riser, and it's not like I pedal hard or anything, but I just held my 330, 340, 350.
Whoa.
And I looked back, and I asked for the guy to pull through, and he didn't come through, and I was like, looked back, and there was this gap, and I was like, okay, I guess it's time for me to go. I kind of just threw up on the pedals, and that was me departing from my brake mates of the past 20K.
Yeah.
At this point, I knew there was a group up the road.
Which is the first break.
Which is the first break, the early break of the day.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how far they were, but...
Were they in sight?
They were not in sight, because the road's kind of, you know...
Weave in and weave out, yeah.
So I didn't know how far they were, but I just said, you know, I know I can hold on to the space. So I just kept holding on to the same kind of pace that I was setting, which is 330 to 350 to 360, 375 on the hills and up the headwinds. Then getting super aero on the downhills, you know, just pushing out something under my threshold, kind of a tempo pace, 280 to 320. And kept doing that, and next thing you know, oh man, the biggest challenge in this race was lack of information. It's really hard to pace yourself if you don't have good information. And what I mean by that is time gaps. So there were motorbikes. There were enough motorbikes. There were more motorbikes on the road than there were cycles. But there was no information, you know. And So I kept asking for time gaps to.
And that's me. You're asking
Yeah,
me.
I kept asking you for time gaps, and people kept giving me time gaps to the front.
Yeah.
But nobody was giving me time gaps to the
Back. Yeah.
I really wanted to know if I was going hard enough to not get caught.
Yeah.
That was my genuine worry, because if I got caught, I had to pace myself to know, should I keep something for then making a second selection? I wasn't really worried about whether I was going to catch the guys up front for some reason, because there's nothing I could do to influence that, because I was going full gas for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you were going beyond your FTP.
I was going at above my FTP. No, I was pacing it well.
Okay.
Above FTP on the hard parts of the course, the slow parts of the course, and at my threshold on the fast parts.
Got it.
And that's what I knew I had to do.
Right.
And everyone kept giving me gaps to the front, and I was like, I need gaps to the back, you know?
And I think that was also because, like, me being on the moto, it was absolute chaos behind, you know? With the number of guys, like, you know, I would go ask somebody for, like, info, and I would get 3 different timings from 3 different folks. And the CFI guy would actually tell me, like, you know, this is my time, but I'm not sure. And I'd be like, okay.
The time gaps I were getting were like at one point I would be like, oh, you have 4 minutes to the back. And then like a minute later, I'd have like, oh, you have 1.5 minutes to the back. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I knew to disregard that information and just keep going. But finally came the info that I was really close to the front group. And so at this point, I started kind of really kind of reining myself in. So really, there was one more climb section with 35k to go. The plan where I originally planned on making
the last kicker.
The last kicker into Jamkandi. So I dialed it back on that, made the catch right after, and it was 3 guys. And this is some of the stuff that didn't get captured on video, but when I met the 2, there was Manohar Bishnoi from the railways, there was Dinesh from the army riding for Assam, and there was Mukesh from Tamil Nadu/railways riding for Telangana. There were 3 guys, and I was like, okay, I know who these guys are. I know the way they ride, I know their strengths and weaknesses, and I also know they've been out all day. So I knew that I would have to make my move pretty soon. So I came up to them, assessed the situation. Manohar was telling me that he was cramping. It's the usual thing, right? I mean, you come up and everyone says they're cramping. And so what I did was I gave Manohar one of my gels, I gave Dinesh one of my bottles. Just to see if they were actually kind of, you know, on the limit. The way that someone hands out
grabs it out of you,
grabs it out of you in desperation versus just a relaxed thing. And Manohar had an empty bottle, and I didn't quite trust the fact that he was saying that he was cramping. So I was like, here, take my full bottle. And he handed me, and I grabbed his bottle, and his bottle was empty. So I knew he wasn't bullshitting. So I was like, there was some truth. So what I did was I waited. We did a couple turns. I wanted to assess their strength and weaknesses. Again, it was me doing a minute turns and the boys doing about 20 seconds. And then there was one final little kicker into Jamkandi. And I knew I had to hit out here. I hit out right after Manohar had done his pull. Because you got to hit out when, you know, at the right moment.
They least expect it.
Exactly, when they least expect it, and also when they're on the limit.
On the limit,
So I attacked him right over there, and I expected one person to come with me, and that was the one person that didn't come with me because he was on my wheel. So Mukesh came with me, but I kept the pace high because I didn't want the boys in the back to make it back on. So I persisted till about the start-finish, and kept going till about 22k to go.
Is this where the Jamkandi hill comes in?
No, this is past Jamkandi. This is through the start finish.
Right. Oh yeah.
Okay. The flat section of the course.
Got it.
And at this point, I was like,
this is your TT section, basically.
This is the TT section, yeah. At this point, I was like, this is the last place where I can make a move to distance this guy because it was a headwind section.
Right.
Mukesh's modus operandi is very much sit on wheels and play weak till the sprint.
Right.
He did that to Arvind at the Coimbatore crit, where he just sat on his wheel and then outsprinted him.
Right.
And that's the way he races. That's the way he's brought up to be racing, not kind of race in a very negative way. I knew that about him, and I was like, I don't want to risk taking him to the finish line and trying to outsprint him. So this is where he was really playing coy and sitting on wheels, and I was like, sorry buddy, I didn't ride into a headwind for 60 Ks to get beat by someone sucking wheel.
Yeah. And is he a sprinter?
He's a little bit of a sprinter, yeah. He's a good, fairly decent sprinter in short races.
Right.
I could have probably taken him given the extent of the effort that he put in during the day because he was an early break.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to gamble on that. So with about 17 Ks to go, we had 3 to 4 more K left for the headwind section. I said this is where I need to do it. So I used a little strategy that the Belgians kind of have perfected, and which I've been, victim of several times, which is just get into the athlete's head, right?
Yeah.
So you just call them out. You call them out for sitting on, for not working, and for me that ended up being with my limited Hindi, it ended up being Kaam, Karo, Kaam, Karo. Just
thrice.
Really loud, so you get into his head.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite loud because I was probably
150 meters behind, and you could hear it.
And I could hear this camera picked it up.
That's the key. It's got to be grating. It's got to enter.
Your head.
When you're on the bike, you're suffering. So it's got to break that barrier. It's got to get into your opponent's head.
Yeah.
So I yelled at him for a bit until he came around, and then I gave him a little nudge.
Yeah.
So that little nudge kind of helps because the rider up front thinks all of a sudden that he's got this tailwind.
Right.
And he pushes on the pedals with a little bit more confidence.
Yeah.
And when you're on the limit, when you've been on the limit for 3 hours, and you just do a small 20 second, 15 second, 30 second effort above your threshold, that's enough to put the final nail in your coffin.
Right.
So I give him a little nudge. He gives me a little draft. I keep yelling in his ear, Kaam Karo, Kaam Karo. And I give him a little nudge. And right after he pulls off, I go off to the right. Right when the winds turn into a block headwind. Right. And I drop him. At that point, he pulls out like a Volany canister and starts spraying it all over his ass. And I'm just like, what is he doing? It's another one of those Indian cycling things.
Yeah, put Volany and...
Yeah, put Volany and all of a sudden...
Your cramps are gone.
Your cramps are gone. But at that point, I knew he was... I'd put him in the locker. Yeah. And I took off. And what most people don't know is this was a 140 kilometer race. And for me, in my head...
And a hot race.
A hot race. I came into this race, unlike in previous years, saying, I literally told myself, I don't want to win this race. Yeah. I just want a podium, right? And I also told myself, the key to doing well in this race was staying hydrated, eating well, and riding like a Belgian.
Riding like a Belgian.
Ridden like a Belgian all day. Just take the race by the neck and just don't look back. Yeah. I did that. I was super happy about that up to my race till then. I don't think anyone in that race drank more water and more electrolyte replacement than me. I'd handed you 6 bottles of Fasten Up at the start of the day. Yeah. I went through about 8 on the day. 8 in a 3.5 hour race is a lot of water, but I know my sweat rate, I knew the road conditions, I knew...
It's like 4.2 liters of water, of liquid.
Yeah, that's about 4 to 5 liters of water. I also grabbed some plain water. Yeah. That's 5 liters of water in 3.5 hours of racing, but that's what my body needed. Yeah. Right? Second was food. I had my yoga bars on me, I had my gels on me. I'd gone through 3 yoga bars, I'd gone through 5 gels, including a gel that Naveen Raj had handed me. Yeah. I don't think anyone ate more than I did, right? But those are the things that gets you the freshest to the line. Yeah. And the other was the fact that there's not a single other person in that race who had ridden the entire course.
In terms of a course tracking.
Yeah, in terms of a course tracking. I'd ridden every length of that course and gone further than anyone else, and I think that the fact that I knew every riser on the course like the back of my hand, I knew exactly this takes 2.5 to 2 minutes going it around 330, 350. So I was confident that okay, I knew where my effort ended and I knew I had it in me to do it because I'd done it in recce's. I did 3 or 4 road race simulations and about 5 to 10 ITT simulations. Right. I'd done them back to back. Wow. I'd done ITT road race sim on back to back days, so I knew if I could do that, I could do an ITT with a recovery day and a road race, which is what NASH is. So I had this confidence that I was ready. I had at no point during that race did I think I was going to win.
So preparation, man, like, you know, was key.
Preparation was key. Hydration
was key.
All of that was key.
I mean, it's a full shebang, like, you know.
It's like end to end, right?
Yeah.
And so the way I paced this race was I defined the endpoint as 130 kilometers.
Right.
Because it was block headwind from the moment I attacked.
And what do you mean by block headwind?
So block is just like straight in your face or like straight at your face.
Right.
Really just having to power through it. And those are one of the strongest wins we had all month.
Wow.
They were about 19 to 20 kph, which is like the kind of wins that you really need to put down some power into.
Yeah.
And there's no hiding. So I defined in my head the endpoint to be 130 kilometers. It was the last section up to which I would face headwinds.
Right.
So after that U-turn, it was a tailwind all the way to the finish.
And did that give a bit of relief?
It was huge. I was like, I need to get to that U-turn empty, right? And I did. I got to that U-turn 2K before the U-turn is when I got to it empty. And it was a little scary because those last 2K to the U-turn was absolutely brutal, man. It just never would end.
The longest 2Ks of your life.
The longest 2Ks of my life. And if you look at my Strava data, it's probably the slowest and least powerful 2Ks of the entire race.
Holy crap.
When I took that U-turn, I was like, I have no idea if I'm going to win this because right now I am empty.
Wow.
I am like just gassed.
And if I'm correct, you like jettisoned all your gels and.
Oh yeah, I'd emptied all my gels, my yoga bars, my water. I just kept one bottle on because I was like, for this stretch, I need every bit of physics to be working with me. Yeah, I take that U-turn and it was head down. It was like, how can I get the most aero, put out the least amount of watts, and get to that finish line?
Yeah.
So I shit you not, from the U-turn till the finish, my average watts was 210, which is like incredibly low. I know that when I bonk, when I'm completely empty, that's what I can do because I did that in Belgium a couple times when I was just completely empty.
Wow.
And I can hold 200 to 250 when I'm completely empty, which is my zone 2.
Okay. So you were doing like
zone 1. I was doing zone 1. I was doing zone 1.
Right.
And but I was going 43 to 44 k's an hour.
Got it.
Doing zone 1, you know, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
But that's because I knew it was a tailwind. I knew if I get super aero, drop all the weight that I had, I could do that.
Yeah, that's why you were like, I was down.
I was looking down. The only thing I was looking at was my power meter, making sure that I didn't go under 210, 220.
Right.
Making sure that my speed didn't go under 44.
I looked at the motor and you were doing 43, 44, 45.
44, yeah. On the uphill kind of stretches, I dropped down to 40, but nothing below that.
Nothing below that.
That's what I knew I needed to do, right? At that point, I was just like completely gassed, and with a kilometer to go, I was literally, there was nothing left, right? And I kept looking down, and I was looking down, and all of a sudden, the road kind of turned left.
Yeah.
And I was looking down, and all of a sudden, I noticed there's no tarmac, and there's stones and red dirt, and I was like, shit.
You're off track.
I knew I'd ridden off the road, and I look up. I tried to pull the bike off back onto the road, but it was too late. I was already at 45 degrees. I hit the tarmac, and for a second, I was like, "This is it. It's all over. National championships.
Bloody hell!
All this work done." And I look up, and just to assess the situation, because I'd seen the 1K to go sign on the road because I was looking down.
Yeah.
And I could see the finish line.
Yeah.
So I was less than 900 meters away. And I looked at it and somehow convinced myself that my bike was not going to get me to the finish because the chain was off, the shifter was broken, and I was completely covered in blood. And I was like, the only way I'm going to do this is if I cross the finish line running. So I make a run for it. And I'm like, I'm going to make that finish line. I took 3 steps and I was like, there's no way I'm going to make that finish line. Because I couldn't feel my legs.
Shit.
And I thought about taking off my shoes. I knew I had to cross the finish line with my bike for it to count as a finish.
Yeah.
Because of the whole Chris Froome saga.
Yeah.
I read the rules.
Thanks to Froome.
But then a mate of mine, Naveen Raj, I don't know where he came from, but he hopped off his motorbike, threw his phone.
He was live streaming actually.
He was live streaming the entire race. He jumped off the bike, put my chain back on. He put it onto the small ring.
Yeah.
But my shifter was stuck in the big
ring, yeah.
My left shifter was completely shattered.
Yeah.
So I couldn't shift. So whatever ring it was stuck in, it was stuck in. The cable was pulled and the tension was held.
Right.
He put it into my small ring. I started pedaling. It fell back off.
Oh shit.
So then the second time, he had the wherewithal to put it into the big ring. I was in my 5311, brakes rubbing. The last 900 meters I did at 260 watts.
Wow.
Because that brake kind of let my body recover a bit.
Yeah.
And
you were grinding it.
I was grinding it, man. And I got to the finish. I just got off my bike and there was nothing left in me. I was just like, I didn't even know if I'd won. I didn't know if like the entire race had passed me. It was crazy. And then.
Did you see the crowd? Did you see the crowd around you?
I didn't recognize anything. I just wanted to know if I'd won.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know. I wanted to know if my computer, my shoes, my bike,
your helmet,
and my helmet were fine.
Yeah.
Because those are expensive pieces of equipment and I couldn't afford to lose them.
Yeah.
So once that was okay, I was like, okay, let's calm down, let's bring the heart rate down, and yeah, what followed was just ridiculous Indian chaos. And people lifting me up, touching me on my exposed wounds. I was like, God, I'm gonna die of like.
This is right out of the movies,
right
man.
Out of a freaking terrible Bollywood movie. And I just went with the flow because if I didn't go with the flow, my arms and legs would have probably been ripped off.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
I went with the flow, and
because the next thing we see was you were on top of somebody, and
I was on someone's head. Next thing I was on a stage, and they were like putting garlands on me, and I was like
how many garlands? Wait,
like
3,
four, maybe
4.
5 garlands. I was like, what the hell is going on? And people were asking me what was going through my head in terms of emotions. I was just like in pain. Like my face was a mixture of.
Oh shit.
Yeah, exactly right.
Internal temperature too high.
So Belgium, you know. Fields, churches.
Vegan vada pavs. Minus the butter.
Yeah, I mean on the podium it was, people asked me what was going through your head, because there's this video with a lot of freaking emotions on my face. The main emotion that didn't get conveyed was that of pain. They just poured betadine on my wounds.
Oh shit.
And people were, manhandling me.
Oh man.
And so it was a mix of how soon can I get off the stage and stop holding me on my open wound. So it was pretty.
Yeah, because you were like battered up all over the place, left, right, everywhere.
Yeah, there were MLAs and MPs and like MPs' wives and kids and everyone just touching these exposed wounds.
And getting fed prasad at the same time.
And getting fed prasad at the same time. So it was just, it was a feeling of, can I get off the stage now, please? Winning national championships in India are great, but can that open doors to opportunities for me in the next season to reach out to sponsors, to reach out to teams outside, to build on the momentum that I've had so far. I mean, one of the reasons I stay in the sport is not so much to win another national title, is to see how far I can go in this sport.
Yeah, yeah, it's got to take you somewhere.
I mean, is it going to open up opportunities to do something different that nobody in Indian cycling has done before? Is it going to open up opportunities for me to learn and experience?
And it's like a trickle-down effect, If you've done it, it's going to go down to the generation below.
Possible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in Indian cycling, we've always defined the top as winning the national championship.
Yeah.
And now it's winning a national championship is easy. Winning multiple is something that people should target.
Yeah.
Winning the double is something that people should
target. Yeah.
Winning a double and then signing a professional contract with a team outside India is something they should target.
Yeah.
So it's that. Hopefully, it kind of puts ideas into people's heads that more is possible than just a national championship.
Yeah.
And for me, I have to defend my national title every year because it's important that athletes get to measure themselves against me. Because ultimately, one of the reasons I'm in the sport is because of those days that I've had on the bike where I've just rubbed shoulders with some really strong, hard-ass, talented, hard-working bike racers.
Like the Aussie Nat champion.
I mean, I was on a ride in Belgium and we were doing this weekend group ride. And towards the end of the ride, I'm the only dude and I'm on the wheel of the Aussie national champion, right, Miles Scottson. Sure, he probably did like 200k the previous day. He's probably going to go out and do like 100k of motor pacing after this.
Oh shit,
But
crazy.
the fact that, I mean, this was a week before the World Championships.
Wow.
And he was riding on the, I think he was on the team time trial team for BMC. But he's no pushover, right? And I was on his wheel, and we were rotating turns. Of course, I was doing the 30-second turns, and he was doing the 3-minute turns. He was doing them at 340, and I was doing them at he was doing them at 440, and I was doing them at 340.
Holy crap!
That matters, right? We ignore those facts. For me, it was just a confirmation that hey, there is a little bit in these legs that I haven't yet kind of found.
Opened up, yeah.
It's days like that, or it's the days where I lined up for this program S where Ilio Chiese and the Quick Step boys, were on the front riding at 40, 50 k's an hour, and I was in the draft hanging on, and I was just like, is this real? Is this happening? That's the beauty about Belgium. It kind of, the entire thing's flattened out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm there, and I'm like, able to, hang out in the draft of all these guys that I look up to, guys that I watch on a 2 Mbps internet stream for most of the year.
Yeah.
And now I'm dying and suffering on their wheels, knowing that I can. So for me, that's my motivation. The fact that I know there's a little bit more. I know that if I am able to focus 2%, 3%, 5% more on my training, worry less a little bit about my equipment because I've got better support at home.
Yeah.
That's a reason to kind of buffet my buffer my national resume. It gives me a little bit more of leeway in terms of being free to train the way I do from my national federation.
Yeah.
It's all of those things, and that's why I will keep coming back. Because I think it's important for the sport as a whole. It's important for me as an individual, and it's important for my sponsors because they wanna support an athlete who's performing.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's super important.
Sweet, man.
Yeah, so this doesn't look like your traditional Strava because I've got this app called Stravistics installed.
Yeah, it doesn't look.
So it shows you extended statistics.
What's that called again?
Stravistics.
Okay.
So it's really cool. It's like it's a layer over the APK.
Got it.
That adds like all sorts of stuff that you only get in Strava Premium.
So you can get Stravistics without using
Without
Strava?
Strava Premium, yeah.
Damn.
So it's really cool. So you check heart rate distribution,
Whoa.
power distribution, speed distribution, all of that, right? Which is pretty cool.
Okay, this is epic.
Yeah, so it tells you
Wow.
how much time you spend in the different zones. So 300 to 350, spend about 20 minutes. About 10 minutes, 350 to 400. Not a lot of time above 400. And most of my time, bulk was spent around 200 to 250, about 40 minutes. And then the rest of it was spent around that. So between 150 to 300
watts.
So yeah, nothing crazy. Weighted power was 250 for the duration of the race, so about 4 hours.
Okay, that's insane.
Which is not insane.
I mean, for mortal humans like me, it's
for the Indian level, it's enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
So where would you put this against the world standings?
I mean, it's a far cry from world level. I mean, the crazy thing is.
But then it also depends on your weight and your.
Depends on your weight. Like for example, I do a kermesse in Belgium.
Right.
And an amateur kermesse is one where I can actually kind of determine the pace of the peloton and determine the tactics and things like that. And those races for me, like being in the top 10, I would average about 300 normalized for about 3 hours or 2 hours 45.
Wow.
And then I would do a pro kermesse in Europe. The ones where the quick step boys show up and stuff like that, and I would not be dictating the pace at all. I would be in the draft, and I would average a lower NP, like say 260, 270, because I'm not eating the win. I'm just drafting, just surviving.
Yet.
But but the speed is just so much higher.
Yeah.
50 k's an hour.
Yeah.
So pro kermesse, you'll average between 47 to 50.
Holy crap. And this for 3 hours straight.
Yeah, for 3-4 hours straight.
Wow.
170, 150 kilometers.
Holy
Whereas
shit.
For an amateur kermesse, you're talking about 100, 120 Ks, you're doing it about 2 hours 45. You're averaging 300 watts MP, but your speed's a lot lower. It's about 45, 46.
Right.
That's a big difference. And pro kermesse, I would spend a lot more time above 400 watts. So in a pro kermesse, I'd spend anywhere from 20 minutes above 400 watts, 400 to 450. Whereas in an amateur kermesse, more of my time is spent around 300 to 350, dictating the pace. Whereas in a pro kermesse, I'm like jumping out of corners, hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
In India, like a national championship like this, 3 hours 45 minutes, 250 NB is enough to be in the front. You know, and for me, my last 10k brought the NP down a lot because I was literally empty.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it worked out for this race and the conditions on the road.
Makes sense.
Yeah, if you look at the analysis of the race, that was the course for the day. So we started in Jamkhandi.
Okay.
We went out
on the TT course.
On the TT course, so that was 20 kilometers.
So did you have a headwind in the morning itself?
So in the morning it was quiet, but the headwind picked up. So the wind came in from the east.
Got it.
So 20k out and back.
Uh-huh.
And then we went down south.
So where were you hanging around over here?
I was just, so this entire stretch coming in, super patient, breakaways went. The key was just to stay calm, conserve energy. My goal was to keep my calorie expenditure
to the minimum.
1,500 kilojoules.
Okay.
In road race simulations that I've done 1,500 to 2,500 kilojoules in 2.5 hours. Depending on conservative racing versus some attacking racing simulations. And then I knew if I burn through 1,500 to 2,000 kilojoules, I can still put some really good attacks in the third hour.
Makes sense.
That was my goal.
Yeah.
Not let my kilojoule ticker, because that's essentially a measurement of my work rate.
Yeah.
Right? And if I can keep my work rate within that bracket, I know I'm still able to produce attacks at 400 watts, which is what I need to do. So basically I'd done the simulation where I did about 1,005 kilojoules for about 2.5 hours, being super conservative, just riding zone 1, zone 2, and then planned my attack. So I did about 5 minutes at 400 watts over a hill and over on top of a hill.
Was this the last kicker?
The last kicker.
Yeah.
So I knew I could do this kind of an effort.
Yeah.
Really close to my VO2 max, even after 2 to 2.5 hours.
Makes sense.
And so my goal for this race was the first freaking, 50 to 75% of the race, keep it under 2,000 kilojoules and I should be fine.
Yeah.
Which meant being very, very conservative about how I respond to attacks. Going at, following attacks slowly versus bursting, doing 800 to 900 watts just to chase down everything that moves.
Yeah.
So a lot of my attacks, a lot of my response to attacks was very smooth, which maybe people took for weakness in the race, which works out well both ways.
Yeah, it's like a mind game sort of a thing. So,
exactly.
Your teammates, did they play any role in this?
In the past I've relied on teammates at Indian racing, but the thing is the level here is so
fragmented.
Yeah, you've got about 10, 20 guys in the Indian scene who are at a different level.
Yeah.
And then you got the rest of the field, right? So you're really battling against these 20 to 25 guys. And so you got to be calm.
So strategies played out very different.
It was me against two teams, the railways and the services.
Yeah.
So essentially it was me against 12 guys, which that's the way I looked at it in my head.
Yeah.
If anyone other than those 12 guys move, I didn't need to react.
Yeah, because you knew they're gonna.
Those are the strong guys.
Yeah.
Right? And so I just kept my focus on that. And this entire stretch, the start and all the way up to Budol, which is about 40 Ks, was Kaam, was Shanti. After this is where, if you'll notice in the the surginess, right?
Yeah.
So this is up to there.
Okay.
After that, you'll notice that there were a couple attacks, all at around 800 to 900 watts.
Okay.
This is where I decided that I didn't want to let anyone go. It was a tailwind section.
Right.
And I responded to quite a few attacks. Whenever there was a railways, air force services combination that went, I responded. I responded in a very patient way. So this entire stretch was made of that. There was probably about 5-6 attacks which I responded very calmly to. So you see this entire stretch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variability in the power.
Yeah.
This was some bike racing, which I was pretty excited about because it was wearing down some of the competitors.
Yeah. The field was getting strung out basically.
The field was getting a little strung out, but at the same time, there were these lulls where everyone would come back together.
Right, okay.
So then we took this turn up to Rabkavi. It was pretty quiet.
Okay.
Then at the U-turn, I responded to 2 attacks. And then everyone just kind of, this is around the 70K mark is where I had this conversation with one of one of the guys in the peloton, the road race favorite,
Yeah.
the two-time road race champion, and we talked for a bit, and he was like, "Man, the only place aggressive racing is going to work is in your Belgium." And I was like, "Oh man, I just told the guy I don't know what the hell he's saying because he was talking to me in Hindi." And the next attack that went, I followed, and this entire from 73k onwards till the end,
Yeah.
I was at my threshold heart rate.
Okay. And you can see that over there.
Yeah, and if you zoom in, it was literally 260 watts for an hour and 40 minutes. It was 260 watt average, but it was more like 290 to 300 watts NP for
Normalized,
an hour and a
yeah.
half. So I rode at my tempo for an hour and a half basically. And this part of the course was basically us rotating turns all the way to Budhol.
Right.
And then after this U-turn, I just threw in a small surge over here. You see this blip in my heart rate?
Yeah.
And this is where I dropped my two brake companions and I bridged up to the front group right here.
Okay.
And then on the next kicker, this is where I threw in another attack and I dropped the remainder of my two brake companions.
Yeah.
So you see a surge in the heart rate and a surge in the power.
Power. Yeah.
And then I rode with this guy all the way to here till about 120 Ks.
Okay.
I threw in another small attack to drop him. And then this last bunch was basically all the way to the finish. Which is not crazy power, like I said. 220 average, probably around 260 NP for about 24 minutes. And an average of 39, which is pretty slow. This is the last U-turn.
Yeah.
And this, I'll just zoom into the last bit.
Okay.
This was where I crashed. So this is at 138.6 kilometers into the race. I had my crash. Power goes down to 0.
Right.
And the finish was right here, 139.3. So it was 700 meters from the finish that I crashed.
700 meters.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was that. That was the race for the day. So really just a couple important moves, kind of respond. So chilling.
Yeah.
Responding to attacks. The brake. The attack that set up the brake.
This is like a little TT that you did over there.
Yeah, pretty much. Dropping my brake mates, dropping the last passenger, and then all the way to the finish.
Before you get hit the ground a little too hard. Naveen's having a field day at the press. So, just met Naveen on my way back to the shop. And guess what? We just sold a bike. So, how do you pronounce TACX? What? Really? And how do you pronounce SRAM? Such a loser.
That's a good one.
And SRAM? It's tax.
It's tax. No, it's a person's name. It's a second name.
It's tax. John Tax. It's not John Tax, but yeah, it's tax.
Nobody's
Tax.
going to call him John
So
Tax.
you call it TACX. And what do you call SRAM? No, he's calling it SRAM all this time.
I can imagine him doing that.